A very good evening, everyone. So we are here back again with yet another training session. And today's topic is bank import via Excel and the new ledger report. So starting with the bank import via Excel part. So what exactly do we mean about the bank import via Excel? So just sharing my screen. So what we usually do is we do have the feature of updating all the reconciliation part via MT940, and recently also we introduced a new feature of reconciliation via bank Excel format. So now we are talking about how to post entries via the bank statement that we receive from the bank portal. So first, what we need to do, we need to go to simply masters, accounts, and we are supposed to go to bank template and create. So why bank template? So since we are talking about the dynamic bank import format, that would easily help me in updating all my entries in my books so that I can just easily make the entries, the reconciliation part, only the bank reconciliation part needs to be done from my end. So just to make the day-to-day activity more easier and more user-friendly, use this feature. So first of all, I need to update a bank template. For example, I have a bank of Kotak bank statement. I do have a bank Kotak bank statement. So I'll just give the example of Kotak bank. That's it. Would be my bank template's name and the bank ledger that I need to search. So I'll click over here and headers row start from and header row data row start from. So I'll just quickly open the bank statement that I will import in my books. So this is the bank statement in the Excel format that I have received from my bank portal. So over here, all the details which is being shared by the bank details, I'll not make any changes in the bank's Excel. I'll simply follow the instructions that has been given in my bank template. So it says header row start from. So my header row is starting from 11. So I'll just type over here as 11. Data row start from. Now, where is the data starting from? So in most of the banks, you may be finding that there is a one row gap, and in few bank statements, you will be finding not at all gap after the bank after the header. So from wherever the data is starting. So in my case, the data is starting from 12. So in your case, wherever the data is starting from, and you want my system to read the data from a specific row, then you can just update the data row start from as per the Excel format you do have. And then comes the detailing part. Now, detailing part, we do have certain headings over here, certain columns over here, from where all the data will fetch from the Excel and accordingly will get posted in my books. So over here, first comes the date. That would become my voucher date. So the date is for column B. I will select column B. Then comes your amount CR part. So I'll select amount CR. So where is my credit column? Credit column is coming up over here. G. And then comes the DR part, which is F. Then comes the instrument part, which is my D. And then we will add up to the narration part or the description part, which comes up to C. So why is this so important for us to make the bank template or the BRS template? This is just to give the command to my system that from which column the data is supposed to be fetched, so that when all the entries are imported in my books, it should get into its places. So I am good to go with my Excel import part. So I will hit save since the template is already there available in my system. So I'll not click over here as save. I'll just quickly show the bank template in the edit mode, what I have already updated. So this is the bank template which I have already updated in the system as per the Excel sheet, which is there in front of the system. Now I'll move to the next step. What is our next step? Next step is for importing the bank statement. We need to go to transactions, import, export, and import. Then comes the BRS, and this is the new stream, new columns which has been introduced in the system. So you will be finding two drop downs coming up over here. First is bank reconciliation. The second one comes the bank entries posting. So today we are concentrating entirely on bank entries posting. And then the moment I click the bank entries posting, I will be asked to select the business place. Now, whatever business place is there already available in your system, all the drop downs will be reflecting over here. If the system is not, if the books is not GST registered, this column is null and void. So over here, I'll just simply select the Maharashtra business place. Now, why it is so important? In my books, if the company is GST registered, each and every entry should have one business place, so that all the entries which is being posted in the RealBooks is having some or the other business place as per the books configuration. So I'll select over here, and then I will select the template which I created in front of you. And then I will click on browse. I will select my bank, which is Kotak Bank, and I will click on open. Then I'll simply click on upload. The moment I click on upload, it will redirect me to the import export bar list. So there will be an option of bank import, and I will hit search because I have already imported the Excel file previously in my system. So the moment I click over here, I will be finding two options. One is the daybook and the other one comes as a bank upload. So what is the difference between the daybook and bank upload? If in any regular practice of Excel import, we always get the daybook option. So that the moment I click over here, whatever entries are there in my Excel all comes in one go and it reflects in my daybook, that all the transactions are reflecting in the system in one go over here. But what about the entries? Now we have imported the Excel bank statement in my books. All the entries got posted in my books. That's great. But what is it ledger's name which will get imported in my system? Because my system, I have not made any configuration that this receipt has been done against which party, the payment has been done against which party. I don't have any clue, and my system also doesn't have any clue. So automatically all these entries will get posted against suspense ledger. The bank ledger, I have defined the bank ledger, but the other end, all the entries will get automatically posted against the suspense ledger. So now our another task is to clear all the suspense in from our books. Now how to do? We'll again come back to our import export list. We are getting one more option of bank upload. So now the moment I click on bank upload, I will get all the listings in single lines over here. So I need not worry about going and changing all the, editing all the transactions and clearing all the suspense ledgers from there. So what we can do, since as you can see, this is the company's name and I do have a multiple segments. If it does not belongs to this particular segment, I will simply select the another segment. The business place, although I selected one specific business place while importing, but in case after importing you realize that this transaction does not belongs to that particular segment, the segment needs to be changed and the business place needs to be changed, you can do it automatically. And as for that, you can select the voucher types as well. Since if there are multiple voucher types available in your system, it will give you all the options based on the natures of transactions over here, and accordingly you can make the changes and you are good to go. So now comes the suspense ledger. So I'll quickly remove it and I will put a party ledger. For example, this is the party ledger ABC Private Limited. Since the bill is enabled, the moment I click on enter, automatically all the due bills will reflect over here. Whatever you want to search over here, you can click simply. You can add on the references over here. and you can change the references types as well, whether it's on new, advanced, on account, whatsoever. Then you need to put the balance amount over here, and you will click on create. So the moment you click on create, the system will again ask you another question. Do you want to edit the narration which is being posted in my system? Now, what is narration that my system is capturing? It's the Excel, the narration part or the description part, what is already available in my back statement. It will automatically fetch the data from there and show as a narration in my books of accounts. So if you want to edit any narration over here, yes, you can. So I can just make it as bank reconciliation session. And I will remove this. I don't want it. And the moment I click on save, my transaction will get removed from over here. And if again I go back to daybook, I will be finding that the entry has been, the narration has been edited over here, and the entry, the suspense ledger has got moved, and the party ledger is entered in my system. So what about, again, there is one more question. What if the Excel, the bank statement is important in my books, but I want to make certain changes in my bank pop-up? Now, what is this bank pop-up? Now, this bank details capturing part, we can do, this option gets enabled from settings, configuration, accounts, and there will be one option of capture bank details. So the moment this toggle button is enabled in your system, you can track all the bank details in your system as per the bank information. What is the instrument number? What was the instrument date, type, check, everything, all sorts. So what if I have already imported the file and now I want to manually edit make few changes in my bank description? How was I supposed to do that? So in the same string, again, you can just come over here. For example, I'm taking this particular row. If you click over the settings icon, you will be finding the three options, whether you want to edit the narration, whether you want to make any changes in the bank entry, or you want to delete the voucher that you do not want this particular voucher to reflect in your books of accounts. So there is an option of bank entry edit. So the moment you click over here, a pop-up enables, and accordingly you can make the changes over here, which my system has auto captured from the bank statement. So any changes over here will directly reflect in my books of accounts. For example, I will just remove this part and I will click over save. And I can now, if I want to make any changes for the party ledgers, since I need to clear the suspense ledgers at any given point of time. So I will put it over here like this. And this is the amount, and I will click on create. Again, the same process. Now this time I don't want to edit any narration. I will simply click on save. So this way I can just simply on a click of button, I can just keep removing my suspense ledgers and click save, and automatically my system will capture the data and it will throw in the books of accounts. So you need not worry about entering all the data again and again, manually checking the bank statement and marking all the entries and then updating in your books. So you can simply just via bank template, you can import the entries in your books of accounts, and from this particular screen you can simply clear all your suspense ledgers and you are only pending with the bank reconciliation process. So I am just stopping my screen. We will have a quick Q&A sessions. If any questions are there, please go ahead with that. I will try my level best to answer that. Thank you.
Hello.
Yeah, please go ahead. Yes.
हमेशा मेरे को जानना है ये हम लोग कैसे इसको टेम्पलेट को एक्टिवेट करेंगे। ऐसा हम लोग को तो कोई बॉक्स में नहीं दिख रहा है, तो कैसे उसको एक्टिव करेंगे?
ये बेसिकली ये बाय डिफॉल्ट हम लोगों का न्यू फीचर रिलीजेस में है। तो ये बैंक टेम्पलेट हम लोग एक शॉट में अभी एक छोटा सा डेमो दिखाया है मैंने। इसके बाद हम लोग इसको सारे बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स में एक्टिवेट कर देंगे, सो दैट ये बाय डिफॉल्ट आपके मास्टर्स में बैंक टेम्पलेट का ऑप्शन आ जाएगा और वो इंपोर्ट एक्सपोर्ट का ऑलरेडी लाइव है। सो वो आपको सारे डिटेल्स आपके सिस्टम में क्लियरली दिख जाएंगे।
ओके, और एक क्वेश्चन है, हम लोग जब वो एंट्री को पोस्टेड करेंगे ना, तो उस टाइम हम लोग जैसे एज पर डिपॉजिट एज पर पेमेंट तो रिसीव पेमेंट हो जाए, कॉन्ट्रा हो जाएगा ऑटोमेटिकली, कॉन्ट्रा एंट्री?
Again, okay, good question. Thank you for the question. I'm just sharing my screen once again. So again, I'm going back to transactions, import export list. I will go to bank import, click over here, and I will click on bank flow. So your question, for example, the second part, I'll not consider the first part because it's already contra over there. So this is the second part, and for example, I want to switch it to bank to cash ka transaction. What if it's a contra? It's a bank to cash ka transaction, and I am just copying this narration. Click on save. Automatically, the entry will get removed from here. I'll go back to reports, counts, daily reports, and date. Date of creation. And I will search over here. Automatically, the receipt got changed from the
Oh,
name sheet.
yeah. So,
Automatically,
okay.
it will
Automatic
get
voucher table,
triggered.
voucher table will change. Okay.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes. Just
Yes,
need to
thank
make
you.
sure automatically my system will redefine and it will automatically change the voucher type as per the nature.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a doubt.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, sorry, I had actually joined in late, so I may have missed some part of it. So my
Okay.
doubt is, earlier I was doing import using the bank, the accounts voucher template. So I
Yes,
had prepared my own macro because my bank gives it in a different format.
correct.
So now you're saying that this you're allowing us to upload the bank any bank's template in the master, and we can use the BRS feature to import. Is that, am I correct?
Yes. Basically, you just need to define a template. I mean, over here, I mean, this is what we in our old process, what we usually used to do is we would ask you guys to give us a proper format. Any changes or by mistake also, if you're removing any cell ka data or a row from the import, automatically there would be a mismatch with my template, which is stored in my backend, and it would give you an error at that very moment. So this
Yes.
part goes out. You make any kind of changes in your bank statement Excel, my system will read as per the command which you give in your master's bank template. So you need not worry about selecting which bank format are you selecting in. You need not worry about that. You just need to update the bank template ka masters correctly, and you are good to go with the bank import part.
Okay, sure. And this is live for everybody?
This is live for everybody. We'll just release it in a day or two's time. This is a new feature which I've introduced. So today I'm just giving a session, then it will be live for everybody.
Okay. This is a very useful feature for us. Thanks. Because we work with multiple banks. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other question? If not, then we'll just move ahead with our second topic of the day, which is our new ledger report. Now, what do I mean by the new ledger report? We already have a ledger report which is being usually used in our system, which is simply going from reports, accounts, daily reports, and ledger. It's simply if I just click on Kotak Bank and if I search over here, all my transactions are reflecting for whatever BRS that I updated. I can simply go to the bank reconciliation, bank details. I'm getting all the details coming up over here. If I just want to see what all is not reconciled, I can simply click on in all transactions is getting. But what's the use of new ledger report? What am I talking about currently? So I'm talking about the load count. So over here, the moment the number of transactions increases, for example, it's 5,000, 10,000, or probably 15,000, 8,000. At that very moment, what we usually do is we just simply search the date range, and then accordingly, I will just update. I will just go ahead and I will export the data. But at any point of time, I am unable to view the entire data in one go in front of my screen. So just to handle the load count, we have introduced a new report, which is a new ledger report, which is reports, accounts, daily reports, and ledger new. If I click over here, a new screen tips in, and I am supposed to search the ledger by what? By name or by code. It will give me the same regular process, the options. I will click over here. For example, if I'm selecting the Kotak Bank, and I will give the date range right from 1/4/2022 to till date, and I will click on search. So automatically in a fraction of seconds, all the data loaded. If the count is 10,000, 15,000, 11,000, all the count will reflect in one go in front of your screen. You need not wait or keep on exporting the data one by one. So this has been introduced for the handling the load count of the transaction in the system with the ease, with all the existing features which was there earlier in your regular ledger report. So over here, if I go in my options, I'm getting all the options which was earlier there in my regular ledger report. So over here, if I click on the bank details, everything is reflecting over here. And if I want to select the approved, unapproved transactions, all the details will reflect as per my convenience, as per my ease. Just upon a click of button, everything will reflect over here. So in my screen, I am not finding, in my regular ledger search, I used to find one ledger field to search. Now, what if I want to change or switch to a different ledger report? How do I do that? I'll simply go on search, and I can now simply click over here as Zomato, and I can click over here as search, and automatically this transaction will reflect over here. Now, one thing just to understand, initially when I showed this screen, I had an option of selecting the ledger code and ledger name, but while in my second search or multiple searches, I don't find any field of selecting via name or code. How do I do that? We do have an option again over here as ledger search by name or code. So I have this option coming up over here as code. If I click on code and go on search, I can simply give the code as ZQ1. This is the ledger which is reflecting. I will click over here and the data gets loaded via ledger code. So everything is as it is. You can just simply color code it as per your convenience, like 1, 2, 3, 4. All the colors are reflecting. Which color stands via which number, everything will reflect. If you press on 1, green will reflect. If you press on orange, red, or purple, any color, whichever color. In case, if for example, if I use this, if I click in 1, green color reflects. If again I click back on 1, it gets removed from here. And you can even color filter this. For example, if you want to filter it via green, all the green transactions will get filtered. If you just want to filter it via all the purple colors, it will get filtered. So this way you can use the report for your convenience, which will help you in load count as well as the ease will reflect in this report. So this is a newly introduced report. Again, the next question would be whether it's live or not. Yes, it is live. But again, this is an August release feature, which is an upcoming feature. We will give live in all our companies, and accordingly, it will help you out in downloading or viewing the data on a large scale. So this was all about the new ledger report. Any questions, any query, please go ahead with that. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining once again.